Welcome to Coffee with Jenny B. It's conversations over coffee. It's about community, connections, what brings me joy, and everything in between. I'm your host, Jenny Sakovac. We love to belong to something. It's that sense of community, it's that sense of connection, it's that sense of identity. It gives us a purpose that we are part of something bigger than we are. And yet we're also contributing to the group, to whatever group it is, whether it's a community group, it's a cultural group, it's a sports group, dance group, cooking class, whatever it is. You have that sense that you're among others who are part of what you are believing in, and maybe even to the point of contributing and adding something special to that. And this is not just here in Winnipeg, but it happens all over the world. And different countries will have different ways of gathering. You know, when I think about my background, I'm Polish, and we would gather and we would make pierogies, or we would make cabbage rolls, or Ukrainians pierogi, the little meat buns. And in Latin American countries, they're making empanadas or tortillas, or you name it. It's just gathering together and having some fun. And there's a reason to gather. And sometimes it's just to gather for the sake of being connected with others. My guest today is someone who has created a community for Hispanic people here in Winnipeg and Manitoba. Her name is Carmen Puente. She is the co-founder and director of Training and Empowerment Women Congress Manitoba. She's also strategic project coordinator for Red River College. Please help me welcome Carmen. Hi, Carmen. Welcome.
Thank you, Jenny. Thank you for having me today. It's my pleasure to be here.
You're welcome. And I'm so excited to talk to you and learn more about your involvement with Training and Empowerment Women Congress Manitoba, and also a little bit about you.
I'm from Venezuela, Caracas, Venezuela. It's a really nice and beautiful country, tropical country, not the same than Manitoba. But we immigrated here, or we came 11 years ago with my husband and my son, and now we have two more boys. Mm-hmm. I have three boys. And yes, I am working at the Red River College, and I also working with our community in this new project that is amazing and wonderful.
Wonderful. Now, what gave you the idea of starting this community for Hispanic people here in Manitoba?
Well, I have been working with the community in different things, especially with the Venezuelan community. Mm-hmm. And I was also in my workplace, I have the opportunity to connect with a lot of international students. Mm-hmm. And I was just worried about all the process that they need to go through during their pathways as an immigrants. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, maybe we need to do something, because I was thinking about how, especially women, they can be isolated because they think that they have a lot of responsibilities, or they have a lot of things and challenges, and they think that they cannot do that. And I was there, I have the opportunity to listen to them about their needs, about those kind of challenges and problems. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, we need to do something. We need to find a safe space, yes, for women where they can connect, get so empowered, and also get inspiration. And that is why we create this space.
I love that, and I love that you are providing something to these women that they need, and it's something that they're familiar with back home, wherever they're from. And coming here to Canada can be such a cultural shock. Mm-hmm. And really, there's not a lot of Latin American communities where you can belong to something and feel that sense of being back home. So it's really wonderful that you've created something that people can, and especially women, feel that they can be a part of and feel that they're still connected to their roots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also, you know what happened, and I think it's so important. Sometimes we need somebody who reminds us that we can do it. Mm-hmm. We can do things that we want. because during this term is so hard. This process is so hard. Sometimes we can be disconnected of our dreams, of our self, you know? And this is something that we want to do. We want to just let them know that they can do it. And we want to be that reminder for them. And I think we are doing a good job.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. Now, tell us a little bit about something that you do together with the women. Like, what kind of events do you do, or what kind of gatherings do you provide?
We are working on something special, of course, but the idea of this organization is create conferences or small conferences. But for this year, we are preparing the second version of the Congress for Hispanic Women in Manitoba.
Okay.
That is, last year we have around 180, between 180 and 200 women. And this year we are expecting around 250 and 300.
Wow, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and it is housed by the Red River College. They provide us the space for this opportunity, and we will have more than 18 conferences. And you will be one of these.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And also we will have 2 speakers who are coming from Montreal and Houston, Texas. Yeah.
That's such a lineup of wonderful speakers.
Yes.
Now, the 2 that are coming, the one from Texas and Montreal, are they also speaking in Spanish or English?
Yes. We have Gloria Rosado Lopez. She's Mexican. She is from Mexico, and she's living in Montreal. And she's the first woman working in one specific program from the McGill University. And also she's the president of 50+1, or in Spanish, 50 más uno, this international group who works for women, and especially for immigrant women. And another one from Houston is Atala Tobar. She's a coaching, and she's a speaker as well. And she works with immigrants and a lot of people in different programs in Houston.
You know, I think about, Canada and Canada's relationship with immigrants and, international students, so we both work with international students, you at Red River and of course me at University Winnipeg PACE. But it would be interesting to get a sense of how they work with immigrants and international students in the United States. So it would be interesting to find the differences, and maybe there are some commonalities as well.
Yeah, but you know what? I think as an immigrant, we share the same problems and the same concerns and the same process, Of course, the rules are different.
Right.
But the base of that process is always the same. It's the same challenges. Maybe in some parts, some countries will be easier than other, but it's almost the same.
Yep. Okay. So when you talk about challenges, what are some of the major challenges that you experience, or that maybe you yourself has experienced, or maybe some of your students have shared these things with you?
Well, I think of course, for a lot of us, is the language is the first challenge. The second thing is the weather. Of course.
Of course.
If you are coming from one of our countries in Latin America, we are so warm and kind, And maybe when you are coming to this kind of culture, it's a little bit different because we like hugs, we like to talk, and sometimes you can find people who doesn't like it, but it's part of the culture, And it's like, okay, what do I need to do? Do I need to give the hand? Do I need to check the hands, or do I need to kiss her? What do I need to do? It's that kind of things. But of course, we are learning.
Of course. You know what? And I mean, I love to hug, and I have to ask, hey, can I give you a hug? Or you can tell by the body language. So if somebody's, kind of reserved, and it's like, okay, obviously we're not hugging, but if they tend to be a little bit open and maybe leaning in, So it's really paying attention to the body language, you know, and you're right, not everybody is used to the idea of hugging, you know, and even handshakes. So yeah, so I can definitely tell the frustration of like, oh, what do I do? Put my hand to a hug, you know, just stand there, put my hands together.
Exactly, but in our country, we didn't ask.
No,
it's
you just
part
hug.
of the culture, just a hug, just a kiss, and those kind of things. And nobody likes those things, and it's part of the culture. But at the beginning, it's like a part of that culture shock that we have.
Mm-hmm. So maybe part of what you are going to offer us here in Winnipeg is the idea that maybe we should be open to receiving hugs and, you know, and knowing that it's coming from a good place.
Exactly. And it's part of our personality. If you know a Latino and you see that that person is so kind, it's because we are like that. Yes, it's part of our nature.
It is, and you're so generous because I know I've been to Mexico many, many times, and everyone there is just so generous. And I mean, obviously I'm not that fluent in Spanish, but when I do try it, they're so happy. I was like, oh, you know, and then they you know, they give me a barrage of words, and I said, despacio por favor, so slow down just so I can, you know, so I can understand what you're saying.
Exactly.
But they're so happy that we make an effort.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't take much to make an effort or to be kind, does it?
Yeah, and of course, in this culture, we got that as well because we are Manitoba. We are friendly, you know. Mm-hmm. When we arrive here, we can feel that, but it's different. It's not the same, but it's different. However, I can say that a lot of people, maybe like you or somebody else, they know that we are like that, and I think it's time to let the rest of the community know that we are like that. It's not so bad. It's good.
It is
to be that like that. Yeah.
I'm wondering though if you I know that your conferences and everything are mainly for the women in the Hispanic community, but I'm wondering about offering a conference or some sort of an event and inviting, you know, sort of non-Spanish speaking people to come and maybe have a workshop on what it's like to be Latino or Latina, and just talk about, you know, what we can offer in terms of music and dance and food and culture, and really just, I mean, Folklorama, we have that in the summer, and we have a lot of pavilions that are, you know, based on Latin American countries. But it would be nice to offer something to invite people as like an open house almost to come.
That is a really nice idea,
right? So come and experience the beauty and the culture of, you know, and having representatives from different, you know, countries. I remember Jocelyn had an event where they had a group from Peru come in, and they were just so colorful in their costumes and. You know, and it just made me happy just to look at all the bright colors. I mean, even yourself wearing that beautiful orange jacket. You know, I remember in Mexico, we'd stay at a resort, and pinks and greens and yellows and blues and colors that you wouldn't think would go together, and yet they did. And it just makes you smile to see all that bright colors, and it just makes you happy.
Yeah. Because it's part of our culture. I told you, I'm not used to wear those kind of black or dark colors. In winter, I use those kind of colors as well because it's part of myself, you know. I like colors, and yeah, we are like that, and it will be a really nice idea to get that kind of things.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah, of course, it will be super fun. I think so.
Well, and also because I'm thinking, because, well, obviously I'm not Hispanic, but you know, when you mentioned about wanting to be involved in your community, I wanted to be that part. I wanted to be part of it and to learn more because I love the culture, I love the language, I love the food. And the music, I mean, as a Zumba instructor, I mean, that's it's all Latin music, right?
Exactly, yes.
You know, so to be part of an organization that really embraces the culture and it's something that I can learn from, it just makes me feel that I'm a part of your organization, even though I'm not necessarily Hispanic. So
yeah, it will be nice. Yeah, we will think about it. Yeah.
And it's just, you know, creating another way of embracing your culture. And really, I know, because you had mentioned about women tend to feel a little bit more isolated, and the language can be a little bit of a barrier, you know. So I know that in order to feel more comfortable and confident in speaking English, the more practice you have, the better you can do that. And so it's interacting with people whose language is English, so that, you know, so it's learning from each other. I'm learning Spanish from you, and you're learning English from me.
Exactly, yeah, it's a win-win relationship. Yes, I think so. I think now is the time for us as a community to give something back to the Canadian culture or the Canadian community, you know, especially here in Winnipeg. Now we have a large community, a Latino community in Winnipeg, and I think it's time for us to show those kind of things, and also let you know that we have a lot of things that we can offer. We have a lot of give and a lot of things that you can maybe also be connected as well, and maybe you will like it. Why not, right? So,
you just never know. I mean, and it's having the opportunity to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. I want to ask about your boys. Now, your oldest son was born in Venezuela.
Yeah.
And then the two were born here. Now, how are they adapting to the Canadian culture? Or how was the oldest when he came? How old was he when he arrived in Canada?
He was one year.
Okay.
For him, it was easier. But I think that in our house, there is a small part of Venezuela. It's a small country inside. Of course, they want to talk in English, for example, and we say, no, we need to talk in Spanish. And they practice Spanish. My old one, he speaks Spanish really good. The second one, he does, but he's like, Mom, I don't want to talk in Spanish anymore. But he try, and we always ask him to try. And the little one, he's starting to talk, and he talks in Spanish and English, both things, and we will see.
Wow.
But we listen to our music, we eat our food, we share experiences about our culture, we watch some TV shows from them there, and we try to keep that part of our culture there. Yeah. But there are Canadians.
Yep.
There are Canadians in different ways. Yep.
Well, but you know, trying to keep the culture alive, I think, is really important, because I know that children at a younger age, I think it's up to 5, they absorb so much. And so giving them the opportunity to learn another language, and who knows, I mean, being in Canada, learning French as well would be useful, you know, depending on what kind of career they're looking for as they get older.
Exactly.
You know, I remember because my parents were Polish, and so when I was growing up, we spoke only Polish at home until I would go to school. And then I remember one day I came home from school, and I said to my dad something in English, and he said, "Okay, now tell me that again in Polish." And so then I was able to speak it in Polish, but I haven't spoken that in years because I don't have an opportunity to speak it with anyone, and so I've. You know, I still remember, I can understand, and there's some words that I can say, but the grammar and all of it is gone. I'm more actually interested in speaking Spanish, you know, and so I want to improve on being that. I don't know if I'll ever be fluent, but enough to have a conversation. You know, that's what I really enjoy.
No, and also it's really good for your brain to learn a new language, right?
Yes.
No, but for our boys in any of our houses, I think it's so important that we keep the language, because it will be a plus for them. You know, it's like a bonus. They have this one. Maybe my boys, they don't know too much grammar, but they can read and they can speak Spanish, and that is good for them. Not for us, for them.
Absolutely. And you know, and the more they practice and speak, the more comfortable, and they'll want to learn more. Even the middle one is like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. But I think secretly he really enjoys that.
Yeah, and sometimes when I am reading something, he's just beside me, and he tries to read something in Spanish, and he can do it because it's similar to English in some ways.
It is. And when you think about the root of certain words, you know, a lot of our English words, the root is coming from the Latin.
Exactly, it's similar.
Very similar.
Yes. The problem is the pronunciation.
Yeah. You know what? Even people that speak English, they have trouble pronouncing it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You know, I want to mention something that my students always talk about, and they always talk about their accent. You know, I had one student; she was from Ecuador, and her accent it was actually very heavy, and she apologized for her accent. And I said to her, "Well, there's no need to apologize because we all have an accent. I have an accent to you, but it's taking the time and paying attention and being patient." And listening, because I say to my students, I can understand everything that you're telling me because I'm paying attention. I'm listening. I'm not in a rush. I'm not, brushing you off. And so it's really paying attention and wanting to understand what the other person is saying.
But I think it's something that is a really big concern from immigrants, and the language and the pronunciation. Honestly, now I don't think about my pronunciation. If I can communicate, that is okay. Of course, it is more about, my concern is more about the grammar. Maybe, I say that, no, whatever. But I think it's the accent is also our, it's our essence. It's something that we have, and sometimes it sounds really nice.
It does.
It's maybe for me, no, but maybe for somebody like you or from a different culture, that sounds nice, and they like it.
I do. I love listening to people that speak a different language. Whether it's French or Spanish, and it just sounds so beautiful. It sounds like music, and even the music, just when you think about the music, which is different than, you have pop and, rock and in all different cultures, and I'm sure as well in your country. But when you go down to, the folk songs and the music from your childhood, and it evokes a meaning because there's a story behind all the music, and it really makes you think about the words and maybe even the dances. Like, I know that certain regions, the dances are very specific. The costumes are very specific, aren't they?
Yeah, it is. And also we can have, for example, salsa is something general in all Latin America, but maybe in different countries they will dance in the different ways.
Yes.
But it's the same music. And
Yeah.
And it's about diversity, right? It's good, and there is richness for us that we can have the option to check and know the different ways that we can do that, right? It's nice.
It is nice. And I love the idea that your way isn't the only way. So when you talk about doing the salsa, for instance, or the tango, right? Immediately when I think of tango, I think of Argentina. But it's not just Argentina.
Exactly.
Tango is done in all the countries, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But it can be maybe a little different, isn't it?
It's the same, for example, for bachata, or maybe the rock. Is the style could be different in different countries. That is really nice.
It is.
And the music is a universal language. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't matter what country.
Exactly.
It's still salsa. It's still cumbia. It's still whatever. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Although I find the music from Peru, I know that there was a group, and I can't remember what they were called, but the music I remember tends to be it's like flute, sort of like a pipe. Sort of. Do you know what I mean?
I know that ones, but I don't know the name of that kind of music. But I know what you say. That is so popular, or is one of the characteristics of this country from Peru. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you say though, like I know that you've talked about, salsa and whatever is the same in all the countries, but are there specific music or specific types of music in Venezuela, for instance?
Yeah, we have one specific instrument. It's like ukulele, but the name is cuatro.
Okay.
Number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah, because it has 4
strings.
Strings.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's a little bit bigger than the ukulele. The ukulele is really small. It's the same instrument but bigger, and the sound is so particular, and we use that for from one specific regions, like a prairie sounds, and they are like our country music. It's like our country, but it's something like that, and that instrument is really special. But now or maybe you will find that instrument in Colombia as well.
Okay.
But it's so typical from our country, in Venezuela, and that kind of instruments. But as I told you, we have different regions, and we have different kinds of musics inside of our country.
Okay.
For example, we have for Christmas, we have something that we call gaitas, but it's just for one specific region. But in December, you will listen to that in all the country, because it's something from that region, but we used to listen to that in Christmas, because it's special for Christmas.
Right. And so now you hear it all over.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. But we have different things in different kinds of music inside of our country. But this instrument is really particular. I will show you one.
I'd love to. Yeah, I'd love to see it one day.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
It makes me think of the women that are part of your community, because they all come from different countries. And is it an opportunity for them to learn from each other? So somebody from Colombia is learning from somebody from Ecuador, or somebody from Uruguay, etc. So do you get that chance that you can connect and maybe share food and recipes, or customs, that kind of thing?
No, in this opportunity, but the idea is that they can connect with other women.
Okay.
For example, I met a person, I think 3 or 4 years ago, and she told me, I have been living here for 20 years and I don't have any Latino friend. I said, what? Because she's married with a Canadian, and all her circle is with Canadians.
Of course.
At that time I was thinking, no, it could be possible. And also after that, I met more women who are just in that bubbles with the Canadian friends and that, but they don't have any chance to connect with some Latino communities. And in this event, maybe we won't share that food or culture or those things, because it's more about education. It's more about information.
Right.
The things that we want to share there is information about something specific. For example, we have some women who will they will talk about business. How can we have a business in Canada, in Manitoba?
Right.
Or how can we be successful in the social media? Or how can we use the social media for our business? We will have somebody who will talk about menopause, because we think that is important. Somebody else, we will talk about the care of your skin, how you need to try yourself. And we will talk about some spiritual things. It's more about a general. We will have general topics. It's a lot of information, but at the same time, they have time to connect with somebody else there.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and of course your group or your community is training and empowerment, which is education, and it's not just education for the sake of learning something, but it's also experiencing it. It's having someone who's an expert who's coming to talk about things. So for instance, I'm going to be talking about how to discover your unique communication style. And of course, I'll be doing it in English.
Exactly.
But it's an opportunity to get them to think about, okay, so how would they like to communicate in English?
Exactly.
And how comfortable are they, and what do they need? So I can't assume that what they will want to do, I need to hear from them and then tailor it to what they need to do. And I know that in terms of the other speakers, they're going to be providing their input, but then the women that are part of the event can also question and want to learn more, and even make a connection to follow up after the conference is over.
Yeah, and something that is really nice. Last year, we have around 15 speakers, But many of these speakers that we will have this year, they were part of the audience last year because they saw the opportunity to do that. And that is the thing that we want to create. It's like inspiration. If they can do it, I can do it as well.
I love that.
And that is super nice when I has just listened to them when they say, Carmen, last year I was here and I was dreaming with the possibility to be one of the speakers. Now I am one of the speakers. And that is really nice. That is something that make me feel so happy. I'm proud.
I'm so proud of you as well for offering this opportunity for women to be connected to something and connected to something that is so important to them. You know, the culture and just that feeling of home. And it's a home away from home. And I love that you're providing this opportunity, these events, these conferences, and even just the opportunity to know that they're not alone, that they're part of something bigger, they're part of a community that embraces them and welcomes them with open arms.
It's a not judgment space. This is that we want to create. And also, it looks like that is just for women. But honestly, it's more than women. It's over than that. Because if you think about a family, the middle of the family is the woman, the mother.
Yeah.
But if you change the life of that woman, everything around her will change as well. And they will feel the difference, I'm pretty sure. And they will know that we can do something good and different. I always talk with my team and I say, if we change one life, that is enough. Because we will change a lot of life through her.
Exactly. And not just the nuclear family, but everyone that is connected with that woman.
Exactly. And somebody told me one thing that I didn't know. And she works with women as well in her country. And she told me, Carmen, for every dollar that you invest in a woman, you will give in 2 years $5 back. Because women have that capacity, that, that, I don't know how to call that in English, but it's that strong feeling that they can do it. And when they want, they do it.
Yes, that strong drive.
Exactly. And she say, it is something that is true. It's not just that I told you, no. There are some research about that. And it's true, and I love it.
And I believe it because, you're investing and you're right. You were saying that the woman is at the heart of the family. And so, there's a phrase in English, if mama ain't happy, no one's happy.
Exactly, that is true. That is true, yeah.
So tell us a little bit about your second event. What can we expect?
Well, it will be on the Red River College Polytechnic in Winnipeg, and the address is 319 Elgin Avenue. It will be on Saturday, March 8th. We will celebrate the International Women's Day together from 9 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. a whole day. We will provide lunch and we will have different activities as well. We will have more than 18 conferences, 3 main conference, more than 15 conference at the same time. And you will have the opportunity to choose which one do you want to go there. And we will have amazing people there. And if you want to get your tickets, you can do it through our website, www.womencongressnb.com.
Okay, and how much are tickets for this event?
$40.
$40, okay, for a full day and lunch and
coffee break
and coffee break and fun and
yes,
embracing the culture. I love it.
No, and also you will feel the energy there. It will be different. It's something that last year when we were there, we just felt that things that you say, what is that? It's that kind of energy that you will feel just when women are together.
Yes.
Yes. You will feel it.
I will. Well, thank you so much, Carmen, for being here and sharing your story about your life here coming to Canada and your family, a little bit about the culture, and of course about training and empowerment, Women Congress Manitoba. So thank you so much.
Thank you for having me today. And I want to invite everybody, if you allow me, I want to invite you to this second version of the Congress of Hispanic Women Manitoba. And we want to have you there because this is a great opportunity for you to connect, to get some inspiration about those things that you want in the future. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. So this has been Coffee with Jenny B on the Multicultural channel. I'm your host, Jenny Sakovac.